All right, Kara, it's all yours. Thank you.
All righty. Well, welcome everyone. This is the LGBTQIA plus committee for the HRC. We will start with some introductions. So my name is Kira Plessy. She, her pronouns. Kelsey, you're here. Yay! We just started with welcome, and like I said, I am Kira Plessy, she, her pronouns. I'm the chair of this committee and a member of the commission. And I will popcorn. Let's do Kelsey first. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a member of the commission and this committee, and I will popcorn to Robert.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Marshall. I use he, him pronouns. I am the vice chair of the Human Rights Commission and a member of the LGBTQIA plus committee. I'll pass it off to her. Yes, over here.
I'm Autumn Brettweiser, she, her pronouns, and I am a community member and a teacher in the school district.
Ms. Gretchen.
Oh, yes, and I'm Gretchen Bennett, she, her pronouns, and I'm the staff liaison to the commission.
Well, welcome everyone. We'll move into public comment. Gretchen, did we get any public comment at all?
None received.
None received. Do we have any members of the public who would like to make comments?
I don't have a comment prepared at this moment, but I could potentially have some down the line.
That is okay. Sounds good. So we will move into approval of consent calendar because I do have quorum now, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if someone would like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar, I will accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Seeing none opposed, since that's everyone, motion passes. We will move into committee membership recruitment. Last time we talked, we were going to focus on recruitment for this committee. I know we drafted a letter. Have we sent that out yet?
I should have double checked that before this meeting. What I'm positive I did was send it a couple of weeks ago when we finalized it to Pride.
Okay.
What I'm pausing on is if it's gone through our MailChimp listserv or not yet.
Okay.
So I need to double check that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but it's ready to go. We
did finish it. Yes.
Yep.
So if it's not already out there, it will be. And then I've reached out to some of my contacts to see if we could potentially stem some interest there, but I haven't heard anything back yet. So, anybody else, anything else on that?
When was the last time that we posted like call for members on our Facebook? When I say our, I mean the cities.
I don't remember precisely, but I'm confident it's at least been 6, 9, 10 months. I can certainly reach out to the comm staff and see. We're down another person on that team, and I think they're in a minimum necessary space with everything they have on their plates, but I can share, and I know we tend to generate a lot of discussion. But I can certainly reach out and ask, and I can share the blurb that Kara wrote because that gives us some nice language to use. If that sounds good.
That sounds great.
Great. I'd be happy to do that.
If it's not something they have the capacity for doing, Gretchen, is it something that we can do as members?
It would, there's a new restriction with Facebook where the individual needs to be sharing their unique page in. We can't have like a city. How did they explain this? It used to be apparently common when you had an organization page that you'd be able to kind of go in as an organization, but now individuals with their own page need to go in and manage it. And I think that also reduced some of their capacity because some people are comfortable with that and some people are not in that kind of public space. So I'd need to find out whether I or we would be able to, because it requires getting the credentials of the city's overall account, if that makes sense, and then being on there. So I don't know, things have changed. I was just listening to them talk about the change in the way that's structured recently, so I'd have to check,
Okay.
you know.
Cause our openings aren't listed like they are on our main website for like the HRC, right?
It's not, but we could post something on the main on the webpage too, like this, in addition, this is also an opportunity for people. That's an idea
I
we
think
haven't
that would
explored
be
yet.
great, cause people
Yeah.
do check that page. I mean,
Sure,
I think
Yeah.
that would be,
that's easy too.
okay.
Okay, let me.
Anything else on that? Anybody has?
Are you trying to recruit for this committee? Have you reached out to a PFLAG or some of the local organizations that sponsor or support
I'm not entirely sure who all it goes out to that's on the,
Pride?
It definitely went to Pride. PFLAG should be on our listserv, but we could do a separate direct communication to PFLAG. That would be easy to do as well. I've got their contact information in my email. I'd be happy to do that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
The things would be great.
we can move on to the healthcare forum. Just kind of as a quick recap, because it's been a couple months since we've seen each other in this setting. We had decided to move forward with prioritizing the healthcare forum out of our SMART goals. I think after meeting and discussing, primary goal was gonna be education and advocacy, with a target audience of community members and providers. I know that we discussed having approximately 5 providers and having them provide short presentations, approximately 10 minutes. And we can, of course, adjust any of this. I'm just kind of recapping what we had originally talked about. And we wanted to do a panel format. And then the following hour would be a time for Q&A, and that would be moderated. I know there was some discussion about having pre-generated questions already. And so not necessarily taking questions in the audience or taking questions. I know we talked about both, but I don't think either was really decided. So that's kind of a quick recap. I think the last thing that we had on our minutes was that being that we're asking a lot of providers, we wanted to really clarify the ask because we don't want it to come across as an attack on providers, but more of like a collaborative effort to kind of bridge the gap for LGBTQIA plus, and healthcare. So with that being said, I know Alana didn't finish the goals and whatnot yet, so we don't really have that to work off of. But does all that sound like kind of the track that we were on? Do we have any thoughts on that? Or are we still okay with 10 minutes per presentation?
Yeah, I think that gives enough time for them to go over the pertinent stuff, but not enough time to like drone on, and give people space to have questions, and like learn more later.
Yeah. Are we still okay with the panel format? After kind of thinking that over. I think I am. Robert's thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I think a panel format is great. I think my question then would come, like, I guess my comment would come to the in terms of how we solicit the questions and everything to make it not seem like, you know, giving the audience a platform to necessarily attack one or more healthcare organizations for what they are or are not doing. And so I think there's two options we could go about this. We could, one, identify our list, like we could make the decision on how we're gonna accept questions now. Or we could ask the providers, because we, you know, select the 5 providers that we want, and all of them are like, you know what, like I don't mind being in the hot seat. You know, like every question, anything that's ever asked, anything is fair game. well, then we can open the questions up publicly.
Mhm.
But, if our panelists, would prefer anything that, questions and anything we received, kind of in advance and anything to make to ease the moderation, then that would be okay. Because if we're also trying to prioritize audience being able to ask questions as well as the comfort of our panelists, and I think we should ask them how they would prefer to
I agree with that.
receive those questions.
And I think giving them the control to make that choice also presents it in a way that, we're not trying to make this an attack on anyone, so.
Yeah.
Kelsey.
I think that's a great idea. Like we can put out like a Google form for people to submit potential questions and then we can filter them, send them to the panel. And so yeah, so they have time to prepare thoughtful, informative responses. And like if we have time, maybe we take a couple from the audience. But I think that's a great idea, Robert.
So when we reach out to the providers that we choose, we can give them that option. And then depending on what they choose, do the Google form. Is that what we're saying? I just want to make sure I'm on the right page. Like if they're
Yeah, like if they were, I would say if they're, if all 5 of them are like, you know what, we don't care to hear the questions in advance, we don't care to see them, like anybody can just, grab a microphone and, start talking, then, we could still opt to do the Google form type thing just for people to be able to provide them, but we could do more live, Q&A.
if they're okay with it.
Versus, if, some of them are like, like I would prefer, if there's a moderator that was screening these questions in advance, then, we just opt 100% for, questions in advance like we did with the Home and Services Town Hall.
Okay.
Oh, I have lots of thoughts going on in my head, because I know that you don't have the goals here tonight, but I am curious, as if I were to be someone who was attending this, is this something that, is it to see what kinds of health care options are available? Is it to just ask questions what's provided, or what is the forum?
So I think my understanding of
Objective.
of our basic goal is sorry, I'm dropping things to whoever I'm sorry to is the floor, I guess. Anyways, my understanding was that it's to provide both education and advocacy. So I trying to condense this. But it's an understanding of LGBTQIA identities and terminology, so that would be something that maybe would be
So
addressed.
education.
Yes, so healthcare disparities, because there's increased rates of mental health care challenges, chronic conditions, lack of preventative care due to fear of bias. So this is all things that they could potentially address there.
Very broad.
Yeah, very broad issues that they might be running into with healthcare. Am I on the right road with what we're all thinking there? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So I guess my other question is this kind of a thing open to parents of LGBTQ kids, things like that?
I mean, I would think so.
And
Yeah,
so
so in terms of audience, it would be open to the public, so anybody. can
anybody
attend.
who wants
Yes.
education irregardless, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
And I mean, I think that's also something I think that we could, potentially add to, our list of, as we're reaching out to healthcare providers, is finding healthcare providers and I think that are specific to working with youth, because I think that's a great thing to bring up, especially in this, like current climate, is, healthcare providers that are still committed to working with, youth that
I
are
think that's
engaged
a good topic.
in, that space, because I think there are parents out there that are supportive of their children that would want to know which healthcare providers are safe to turn to.
Mhm.
And to add to what Kara was saying, part of this was, being able to, highlight to the public and everything, healthcare providers that are safe for them to go to, so, providing people those information, so they're not just pigeonholed to like the one provider they've been seeing, and maybe that provider's not working out for them, they want to explore other options.
Yeah.
It's going to make it easier for them to gather that information all in one space.
Right.
And ask the questions they want answered.
Yeah, absolutely. Judy, go ahead.
Is this something that's been done before? The healthcare forum?
I am new to this, so that would be
I don't think so. No, in
Oh,
my 12 years, it has not been.
Okay, then going back to what Robert had said earlier, I think it'd be a good idea to have the questions be kind of going through a moderator ahead of time because you never know what's going to be asked if you haven't done it before.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah. But what a great idea. It's a great idea. I love it.
I attended the Salem Speaks, and one of the things I also thought of was that some people might want their question to be confidential.
Yeah.
And so they had a venue to ask a question without having to stand up and fill the spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Miss Kelsey.
So part of this came out of our annual belonging survey that listed healthcare locations as one of the top places that people were experiencing discrimination, specifically the LGBTQIA plus communities. And so it's kind of an exchange of information. So like the providers are talking about the services that they offer and how they strive to be inclusive, while also like potentially getting feedback about experiences that some people have had in the healthcare um, industry trying to get care. And I think also one of our goals is to get healthcare providers to um, maybe look at their practices and to see how they can do better in serving people of all genders and sexuality. So um, I think there's a lot of like options that we could do with this, and a lot of populations that we can reach out to get invested. And I love um, the idea of getting like parents involved, to like these are potentially safe doctors and providers that you can bring your child to. Um, yeah.
Okay, so I think most of you maybe got well, hopefully you got the agenda. And there's some healthcare partners that are listed there. I know we talked about selecting 5. Do we want to select 5 out of this list, or do we want to kind of I want to say survey, that's not the right word, but do we want to reach out to them and see if there's any interest at this point? Like to all of them? Because then we might run into the possibility that all of them are interested, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a problem then.
How'd you come up with this list?
That's a great question. I think these are. Did Alana put this one together?
I typed it up based on committee brainstorming at previous
Right.
meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add a couple
Absolutely.
Please.
options?
Yeah.
Counseling and chaos, childhood health associates of Oregon.
I'm also trying to remember, and I don't think I wrote it on there, we have a health equity coalition that's received some financial support from the Oregon Health Authority. And so that's maybe a potential addition as well. Although they're not never mind, they might be an attendee as opposed to, they're not a provider of services. So that's probably why it's not on the list. It's maybe more of somebody who'd be interested in attending.
Speaking of providers versus, kind of organizers, I'd say Oregon Health Authority, probably not necessarily a provider, in that space, but I would also suggest JD Health and Wellness. I know they provide, both medical and mental health services. They do provide services to LGBTQIA plus populations and everything, and they've been kind of a big provider of medical and mental health services to individuals experiencing homelessness, partnering with some local organizations. So
Awesome.
they might be kind of a good provider that can kind of touch some of those subpopulations as well in part of the presentation.
Aside from a panel, is this going to be one of those types of events where there's booths too, or is that not?
We haven't discussed that yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something that we're interested in. Kelsey.
I'm trying to think of providers that serve the most people, slash the most relevant. I'm wondering if Marion County Public Health would be a good option, as well as maybe their adult behavior health or family youth services. And what's like the free clinic in Salem? Is it just public health?
I think it's free clinic. I mean, they're,
Salem
they're,
Free Clinic.
yeah, there
Yeah.
is,
I think so.
yeah.
Maybe them as well?
Right. I mean, on that note of who handles a huge percentage of the population, should we add Kaiser to this? Kaiser Permanente? Because we have Salem Health.
Mhm.
Okay. So in that, I mean, that's a pretty big list. So in that case, do we want to send something out asking if they're interested, just to kind of see where the interest lies and then go from there? Because again, if we get something back from several of these saying yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, maybe not posing it so much as an invite, so much as that, would you be interested in participating, in this, and then what are some things that. I think also asking them if they are interested in anything, kind of like what their experience is providing, healthcare to LGBTQIA individuals, because. You don't want, to get a healthcare provider in there and everything is like, oh, we don't necessarily provide any services like directly, like direct services or specialized services for LGBTQIA individuals, but we might explore it.
We might.
If, enough people on the board express interest in the next 15-year plan,
Yeah,
because then we've just taken up a spot from somebody that could,
Exactly.
share
I agree.
information. So I think kind of, hey, this is what we're looking to put together. Does your organization provide, specific services to the LGBTQIA plus, population? Would you be interested in sharing and answering questions?
Yeah, I agree with that. Kelsey?
Maybe we like rank. I know this sounds harsh, but
No.
like we're gonna invite these 5 first, and then if one says no, then we'll go to our 6th option, and then if another one says 7th option. It'll be a little bit more work. But yeah, I'm just concerned if like all of them are like, yeah, we should totally do it, and then you're like, oh, not you.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about
I
that
think
too.
there's ways you can speak to people and if they are all interested and say, well, thank you, or really appreciate your interest, but we decided to go with these people at this time. I don't think that's an appropriate way to, I mean, you correct me if we feel like I'm
Oh,
wrong.
no, you're fine.
Yeah,
Well, and if we can move ahead to, I'm sorry, I forgot your name already.
Autumn.
Terrible with names.
it's okay, Autumn.
Autumn. So what Autumn was saying, I think if we're, doing booths, one thing that we did
Yeah.
for the homeless services town hall was we selected the speakers that would be able to occupy stage time, but then offer, I think, was it 4 or 5
There were
tables?
several. That was great.
Yeah, to individuals that weren't able to. So they're still able to share resources.
Mhm.
We just, let them know, like, unfortunately, can't offer you stage time today, but, we would love to have you
Yeah.
at a table.
Well, and I would really like that simply because I think that the event is good for both community members and providers. Like it's an opportunity for providers to see what maybe other providers are doing to ensure inclusive spaces. So I think going that route would be really great. Judy, I'm sorry, I said Jody.
That's okay. I'm often called Julie as well, so it's fine.
Well, you got a Judy, it's in there now.
So as far as providers go, as far as physicians, especially in Sim, there's been a problem with having them accepting patients. So that might be something to consider is if they're currently accepting patients, they might go higher on your list of, requesting them. And I do love the idea of opening up booths. I think that's great to get more information to, the community.
So I could work with Gretchen and we could draft a letter if you're willing to work with me on that. And then I'll secretly ask Kelsey's opinion on it, because I ask her opinion on everything. And we can send that out. So in that case, if we are offering the booths, Kelsey, would you be okay for ranking them? What are your thoughts?
That'd be fine. I think we can be a little bit more open with booths. Just because there's not like a time limit on that.
Right. Okay. We can do that. So I can touch base with Alana and find out where they are with goals. And if they haven't started yet, I did kind of start, but I did not type them up. They are handwritten. So if they haven't started, I can get that to Gretchen, and then Gretchen, would you be willing to send it out to everybody, and we could send our comments to you on because we can't all edit the document, right?
Right.
Okay. So I think I'm wondering if there's anything else we really need. You have to let me look over my notes. Hold on, okay?
Yeah, no, you're good.
I will also touch base with Alana again, because I think Alana had originally talked about moderating it as well, and I'm not sure if they still want to do that. So they wanted to be the moderator. So I can touch base with them.
Do you have a timeline that you're shooting for doing this?
That was my last thing on here,
Oh,
was setting dates. So that's a great question, and I don't. You all have a lot more experience putting forums together than I do, so I don't have a date in mind. What are y'all's thoughts surrounding it?
Yeah, so if I would make the suggestion first we gather which provider we want to speak. So I think we toss out, kind of that interest net, who's all interested. Then we come back, we identify the 5 panelists that we want, and then we can brainstorm a series of dates and then send out. I typically use doodle polls to
Okay.
kind of find out, the date and time that works for everybody on there. And then if there's like one or two, like one provider that's just like gumming up the entire process, then, we can be like, hey, I'm sorry, but this probably isn't gonna work out. And then see if we can fill that slot with, one of the alternates in Kelsey's ranking system. So let's say like number 3 is the one that's gumming up the entire process and the availability isn't aligning with everybody else's. We can be like, hey, like it looks like probably just timing issue wise, it's not gonna work out. While we're texting, number 6 on the side and be like, hey, were you available to stay?
Yeah, okay. That sounds great to me. Kelsey, are you good with that?
I think that's fine. I think we can maybe look at June to tie it into Pride, or when
Love
it
that
is
so much.
or like Salem Pride, which is in August, September, one of those months.
Yeah, I think they switch. I think it's September. It was September last year,
Perfect.
but they have switched before.
Confusing.
I like aiming for June, and
I
that gives us
do like that.
it gives us plenty of runway to identify, some of those, speakers. And if we can identify them ahead of time, it gives them a long enough runway to put it on their calendar. So we're not asking them to put it on their calendar for next week. They can kind of plan around that event.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think that sounds great. When you did the houselessness summit, did you guys accept questions beforehand?
Yeah, so we took questions in advance, and one software that I've been exploring in my full-time profession is this program called Mentimeter. And the organization that I work for is, purchasing some of the pro licenses, and so I imagine they would be willing to loan use of that application login wise to this event. And one thing that Mentimeter allows is for live question and answers to be asked anonymously,
Oh,
but with certain tiers of the feature, and then you can, essentially, moderate them ahead of time. And so like they would kind of go to somebody, they could review them, and then they get popped up on, a screen. And if we shoot for June, it gives plenty of time to play around with that. And I'd be willing to kind of take that on, exploring pathways for anonymous questions and answering.
okay. That's really cool. So that would be more live. What did you guys use this round?
Similar to like a Google form. So we used survey 123 through our GIS, which allows for anonymous surveys.
Mhm.
Regardless of which platform we do, I'd be happy to set up the process for
Okay,
question and answers.
awesome.
Unless somebody else wanted to do it, I mean, to steal someone else's thunder.
Okay. Well, I love where we're at right now. And I love shooting for June, Kelsey, that's awesome. I think, so I'll cover the outreach to the healthcare agencies with Gretchen. I'll touch base with Alana again to make sure she'll moderate, and you are gonna handle Q&A.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, is there anything else you guys can think of surrounding this that we need to address? Those were all of my notes.
Since you have time on the agenda, I'm curious, and with City Hall will be offline in June, do you have a location you're imagining that you think would work for this? Back to Louds?
Is Lux, I was gonna ask, Lux isn't part of the retrograde,
It's
because I was
not.
on with the library's retrograde, correct?
Right, so Louds
Yeah.
is potentially available?
I think that would be great.
I like Loxwell events. I think we've done several events there, so I mean, it's nice to kind of keep like kind of like a similar place. We're not confusing people.
Yeah.
And it, depending on the time that we do and everything, encourages more foot traffic to the library.
Yeah.
Before the event.
It also
Check
makes
out
it
some
Does
of-
stuff outside in the walkway, breathes wise or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Weather permitting.
Yeah, it also makes it a little more consistent too for like technology wise.
Yeah,
So, because we're familiar with how it works, so.
And Dave, correct? Dave's his name.
Mhm.
Dave has been he's just been fantastic tech support, and I'd hate to lose fantastic tech support by going to a different location.
Completely agreed. He was great during the Transgender Day of Remembrance, so yes.
Where did you hold that
Lux.
at? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and Dave helped us out tremendously, so with
He's-
Spotify.
We did all of our
He's-
events there this year.
And he's stayed, each event we've ever hosted there, and I think he stayed past his normal scheduled time to make sure the tech's been running smooth, and so, can't thank him enough for
Mhm.
what he does to support the HSC, so just want everybody, I know these are recorded for later, so. He's fantastic people.
Okay, so my goal for next meeting is that we will hopefully have responses from some of these healthcare providers. Cause I'd like to get that letter out pretty quick, so maybe we can review that. And then we'll have goals ready for review. Hopefully you guys will have those way before the meeting, that we can discuss them at the meeting. That sound good? All right.
Goals for the event.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. All right, feel like I talk really fast or something because I always feel like we have extra time. So, let's move into member remarks and announcements. Anyone have any remarks or announcements?
I just want to comment, Autumn, you don't have to be a member of the commission to, be a member of the committee, and so if joining this committee is something that you are interested in,
Yeah, this is where my heart lies a little bit, or well, not a little bit, this is where my heart lies, period. So I wouldn't mind tagging on for a while if you'll have me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Unless,
And now, how does that work?
Yeah.
Do I have to go through Joaquin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're interested, I will put that recommendation into Joaquin.
Okay.
And then
Perfect.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Judy, same goes for you, my friend.
yes.
Okay, what do you need from me?
Well, if you would like to join the committee,
And
you just need to know, and we can put the recommendation into Joaquin.
okay. Yes, I do want to join.
Okay, perfect.
Yay.
Look at that. See, look at that. We're already kicking it on membership recruitment.
That's
Yeah.
Kelsey, go ahead.
Uh, mood change.
Right.
I just like, I think in this space, I do want to like acknowledge kind of what's going on nationally, and reiterate that this space is an inclusive space for all people of all identities, um, especially our trans, non-binary, and genderqueer neighbors and friends, and family. So I think just re-acknowledging that we are a space for all people. And we'll continue to do the advocacy work that we can do and to give a voice to people who other people are trying to take away their voices. So reiterating that, and I'm really proud of the work that we have done, we are doing right now. So thank you for doing this, and we're going to continue.
Thank you, Kelsey. I fully support that. Anything else?
It's hard to follow that.
Kelsey just set the bar really high and Great. Well, I hate to give y'all back 20 minutes of your time, but I don't have anything else. So if you guys are good.
I actually,
Yes.
recruitment wise, word of mouth, is that acceptable?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I have some
Yes.
Yes,
people to ask.
yes, we would love to have more people, so that would be awesome. Alrighty, y'all, well, thank you. Oh, wait, Judy.
I have one more question. So how are you going to get the information out for this health forum?
So once we have our goals set and our providers chosen and a date set, we'll probably utilize social media. And I know previously we've reached out to Salem Capital Pride to notify them. Gretchen, am I missing anything else? I know it goes out on email.
Yeah, the city's general communications
Mhm.
channels, as Kira said, and that we do have a city email that goes out to people who've signed up for that. We can let local media channels know.
Do you have a little budget for pamphlets or anything?
I can print flyers. I can, at least this fiscal year, I can print hard copies of, like if somebody wanted to design some sort of
Postcards?
Yeah. postcard or small, we've done 8.5 by 11 posters as well. And I can print a reasonable number of those for posting if folks would like to do that.
Okay.
I don't want to take anybody's thunder, like, Robert said, but I would love to design those.
Oh,
We would
look at
love
that.
for you to
Hey,
design
Kelsey,
it.
we're off the hook.
Not to throw Kelsey out there and say she likes Canva. Yeah, if you want to design and then you can leave blank spaces where dates are and
Sure.
maybe come with a draft.
Yes.
next week. Is that too soon?
No, I
Okay,
can definitely do
okay.
that.
That would be awesome. Thank
Fine.
you.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else? Okay, well, y'all have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, good night.
Bye.
I just want you all to know I wrote